Hi guys, I'm gonna show you today how to make a noise map in Blender that scales. We are currently on Blender version 4.4.3 standard scene. I'm gonna clear the scene here and we are gonna add a plane. This is just a temporary output while we're working, so we can see the output really fast. Once you're here, we go to Shading tab or Shading mode. Here we'll create a new material. Let's make a noise. So we right click out here in the black area. If something is active, like you have something else highlighted, and you right click out here, you don't get the right context menu, unfortunately. So make sure that the black area has the focus. So just left click on it, and then you can right click and you get this add texture, noise texture. The fag is the grayscale version, color is a color version. So if you put the fag into the base color, you're gonna over here see the noise map. I'm gonna bump it up a little so it becomes more obvious. This one you can see from above. If you press on numpad 7, it's gonna show us right from above. Okay, now this is a version that does not tile. I'm now gonna make a version that tiles, and it will use all kinds of funny math. We don't need to know the details. If you really need to know the details, you can always look it up yourself. So now I'm just gonna show you how it works, and we're gonna start by making a UV map. This UV map has to be scaled, and for the scale we need in converter we need vector mass here. In vector mass we can use a scale, input it here. We need to scale this by pi times 2. Pi is a half circle, 180 degrees. Pi times 2 is a full circle. This we need to separate out, so we can treat every single value separately. So we separate XYZ, put this in. Now the X value is corresponds to the U of the UV map, and the Y corresponds to the V of the UV map. We need to put these values through some math, converter math. We need to put through a sine. X needs to go through a sine, and it needs to go through a cosine as well. You can collapse these. If there's nothing interesting in them, you might as well collapse them. It's easier to have an overview. We need to do the same for Y. Now we need to combine it again. So we go to converter, separate and combine XYZ. And here the two first needs to go into X and Y, and then the sine of the second needs to go into C. The last cosine needs to go into the noise texture. The noise texture needs to be 4D. Then we put the combine into vector, and the last cosine we put into W. Now we have a tiling noise map. But the thing is, this one has been multiplied by 6.283. Yeah. 2 times pi. So it doesn't correspond completely with the old noise map. But if you divide it by that, then it's gonna and put that into the scale here, then it's gonna correspond. We put the scale down some here. Let's put it down to 2 here. Okay, let's. I mean, the tutorial is done for now. If this is all you need, but I can show you how to put it out into a texture file. If you hang on. So now I am going to make a render target. We add a texture, we add an image texture here, and this one I will call my noise map render target, and you can put the dimensions however you like. It's okay dimensions for our little test here. Once you have the render target, it's going to be nice to see it, and you can do that by creating a new window. You can do that if you see my cursor here. If you put that down into the corner of the current window, the cursor changes, and here you can lift, click, and drag, and you're gonna get a new window. The new window needs to be put in image editor mode, and then you have to open the render target we just made. It's just an image. It's blank. Once you have that, we want to bake the material into the image, and you do that by going to render up here. The render engine cannot be Eevee. Eevee does not support baking. So you have to temporarily, if you're using Eevee normally, you have to, for this exercise, use cycles. Once you have cycles chosen, there's a bake window opening, or bake entry opening, and here's a bake button. But before we bake, we need to put this the bake type in diffuse, and we don't want any contributions like direct and indirect lights. There are no lights in the scene, so but just disable them. Once you have it disabled, you can press bake. Make sure that your render target window here is selected. If it's not active, it's going to give you an error. I'm going to activate noise texture, and then I'm going to press bake and say no active image. But if you activate it and press bake, it's going to give you this texture bake indicator here instead, progress bar. It only goes to 1% and then it ends, so it takes a second more. Here we are. Once you have it out here, you can just save it as an image, save as, and just call it my new tiling noise map, and we just save it as a PNG. PNG is a good format, I think. It supports alphas. It's not really relevant in this case, but it could be if you want to pack multiple of these noise maps into one. We save it as an image, and we have the image here. And then you can just open that in your favorite editor, let's say in GIMP, for instance. And you can do whatever. I'm just going to show you that it actually does tile. Gonna close some stuff we opened here. So here I'm gonna drag this to my ancient PaintShop Pro program, 20 years old. I copy it. Let's just do it proper, yeah. I copy it one more time. And as you can see, there's no seam. It tiles perfectly. Okay, I'm gonna take a copy of the two first here, and we're gonna see that it also tiles on the other axis. As you can see, seamless. Good. That's it from me. Good luck with whatever project you're having. Bye bye.